Hi guys, breaking news. The global M2 just hit a new all-time high. For those new to Bilingo, M2 is a broad gauge of the money supply. It wraps up M1, cash, checking accounts, travelers' checks, plus savings deposits, money market funds, and other easily accessible but not instantly spendable assets. And with the money supply on the rise, Bitcoin's pretty much following suit with about an 82% correlation and a lag of roughly 10 weeks. Now you might ask, why only 82% and not 95%? That's cause some crypto-specific events have thrown off the numbers either up or down. Check out the chart. Bitcoin's price, in white, since 2014, and the M2, in pink, since 2014, with that roughly 10-week lag. Macro investing experts swear the global M2 is a solid proxy for global liquidity, so when that number goes up, you know cash is flowing. But of course, sometimes crypto events like FTX's collapse at the end of 2022 or the Bitcoin ETF frenzy at the start of 2024 can throw a wrench in the works. Today, while Bitcoin is hovering in the low 80k range, the M2 is off the charts, and you might be wondering why M2 is booming even with Trump's tariffs and all the other bearish macro stuff. While the US money supply is accelerating, in January, M2 jumped 3.9% YOY, the fastest pace in 30 months. That's the 11th straight month of money supply expansion, and now there are 21.6 trillion US dollars in circulation, just 16 billion shy of the all-time high from April 2022. And globally, the money supply is up by around $2 trillion over the last 2 months, reaching its highest since September 2024. What does that mean for you? The US money supply is expanding again.
The other thing that people get very confused about is they're like, well, what happens if the Fed don't cut much more? I don't care. What happens if rates don't go down a lot? I don't care. What happens if they don't drain the Treasury General account? I don't care. You've got to understand the global picture is the big picture. And the global picture, like 2017, will most likely be driven by China. I think the US will stimulate, but China is the big one. Chinese bond yields are now at 1% or somewhere close to it. They have run out of runway.
Now, China's starting to pump its money supply, while the US injected about 560 billion and Germany over 500 billion, and China's pumping around $300 billion straight into banks. This is the exact mix that powered the bull run back in 2021. Do the miss. If the current correlation holds, expectations are that Bitcoin will climb back to 100k by May, with blast off around April 30th. And with today's M2 standing where it is, you could see Bitcoin popping anywhere from 98k to 116k by May. Then the big question, where could Bitcoin be by year end? Even with a global trade war vibe coming from Trump, crypto expert Arthur Hayes points out that
a lot of fear on the timeline, markets aren't doing well. So again, just where do you think we are? Are we still in a bull cycle? Are we near the end?
I absolutely still believe we're in a bull cycle. Obviously, the bull cycle has been a lot more concentrated in Bitcoin versus a lot of the other altcoins.
I know Arthur Hayes, and despite some folks getting over-leveraged, I still believe Bitcoin's on track for wild gains.
Are we near the end?
I absolutely still believe we're in a bull cycle. Obviously, the bull cycle has been a lot more concentrated in Bitcoin versus a lot of the other altcoin sphere. And at the end of the day, right now, we are experiencing a lull in liquidity fiat money generation. In the United States, obviously, I believe that Trump investors are consciously trying to cause a recession, or at least the appearance of a recession, so that the Federal Reserve becomes on their side and lowers the price of money and increases the quantity of money. And also, if you think about it, right, regardless of whether you think, the political side of things, if there's a lot of fraudulent payments within the system and you want to get rid of those before you move higher, you can clean up the dead weight. And obviously that's going to have an economic impact. They're okay with it because they're doing it in the beginning of their administration versus, in 2026 before the elections. Oh no, let's go reform the entire government. The voting population is going to be very skeptical of that and say, oh, that's Trump's fault. That's Vessen's fault. That's Elon's fault versus there's probably a way that they can spin this as this is Biden's fault. This is the Democrats' fault. Again, whether or not you believe that doesn't really matter. But the markets, they're cleaning out the dead wood, and then they're going to reflate, and they're going to print more money than probably anyone's ever printed before.
To wrap it all up, despite today's dip, based on the M2 money supply and all these macro factors, I still see Bitcoins on an upward path. With everything from Trump's trade war to global money printing, even if you think macro could hit us hard short term, we might be lapping up a massive bull run by the end of a year.
We had a great run from 20,000 to 110 on Bitcoin, essentially, FTX lows until, Trump coin. And now we're having a 30% correction. It's pretty normal for a bull market. So I think, yes, people might have had a little bit too much leverage. Maybe they bought too many coins. But I think we're going to clear out all that dead wood, and I still believe that we could be 250,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. Does that mean that the particular coin you own is going to be 100x higher? Probably not, because people are getting a little bit more discerning in the type of things that they own. But at least from Bitcoin perspective, in the global, overall market capitalization of crypto, I think we're going to be much higher by the end of the year than we are today.